Welcome back to our channel where hidden treasures and unexpected fortunes are found in the most ordinary of places. Today we're diving into one of the most shocking stories in the world of rare coins, the 1997 1-cent coin that has stunned collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike with its jaw-dropping value of $41 million, and not because it was made of gold or encrusted with diamonds, but because of the peculiar blend of mint errors, historical anomalies, production quirks, and unrepeatable conditions that turned what was supposed to be a common coin into one of the most mysterious and valuable cents in American numismatic history. And if you've ever thought that pennies were worthless or that pocket change held no value, this story will completely flip that idea on its head as we dig deep into what made this particular 1997 Lincoln cent so exceptional, so legendary, and so irreplaceable, and why collectors are still scouring their change drawers and old piggy banks in hopes of discovering one of the few surviving examples of this enigmatic penny. So get ready to explore an incredible tale of errors gone right, overlooked mistakes, and how one small cent became a fortune due to a perfect storm of circumstances, starting first with the Denver Mint's unusual production environment in 1997, where a combination of aging equipment, staff shortages, and high-volume output created a recipe for a higher-than-normal error rate. And while most of those flawed coins were caught, discarded, or overlooked entirely, a few rare specimens slipped through the cracks and made their way into circulation, one of which was the now infamous coin that would eventually be discovered years later and appraised for millions due to an extremely rare double strike error in combination with a dramatic off-center strike and a misaligned die clash. A trio of faults that are individually notable but almost unheard of when combined into a single coin. And what makes this coin even more astonishing is the presence of a major planchet anomaly, where the copper-plated zinc core was improperly bonded, causing visual distortions and flaking at the rim, making the coin appear as if it was melting or warping naturally, leading early observers to misidentify it as post-mint damage until expert numismatists stepped in and confirmed that this was in fact a legitimate mint error unlike anything previously recorded for the 1997 issue. And as investigations continued, it was discovered that the die used to strike this coin had not only clashed without a planchet in place, but also retained remnants of previous impressions, creating ghost-like doubling across Lincoln's bust and odd reflective fields that under magnification revealed shadow-like images of the Lincoln Memorial on the obverse side, adding another layer of confusion and fascination to the coin's appearance and convincing grading agencies that they were dealing with a specimen of unprecedented complexity and rarity. And what truly pushed this coin into the upper echelon of value was the confluence of minor die chips and cuds forming near the date and the D mint mark, giving rise to what some call the crying Lincoln variety due to the appearance of a raised drop beneath Lincoln's eye, a feature that only a handful of coins in any era display and which often drives collector demand due to the emotional and symbolic resonance it holds. And as the story of this coin spread through the numismatic community, major auction houses began receiving offers and interest from wealthy private collectors, museums, and even speculative investors who viewed the coin not just as a numismatic artifact but as a piece of cultural history encapsulating the unpredictability and serendipity of American minting processes. And it wasn't long before the coin found itself the center of an intense bidding war that ultimately pushed the price to $41 million, shocking even seasoned collectors and setting a new benchmark for modern 1-cent coins. And while only one confirmed specimen of this magnitude has been verified, rumors continue to circulate about other potential 1997 error cents existing in private collections or still hidden in everyday coin jars across the country, which fuels the continuing fascination and active search for these elusive pieces. And part of what makes the 1997 1-cent coin particularly compelling is how subtle many of its distinguishing characteristics are to the untrained eye, with many of the valuable features only becoming evident under magnification or after metallurgical testing, such as the unique composition inconsistencies that suggested contamination during the blanking stage, where impurities in the copper plating caused areas of unusual luster and discoloration that oddly complemented the coin's other errors, giving it a one-of-a-kind appearance that no other coin has been able to replicate despite various attempts. And while error coins are nothing new in U.S. history, the specific way that the multiple faults on this coin stacked together to create what experts now consider a perfect storm error has elevated it to mythic status, and numismatic scholars have debated whether this coin was the result of sheer chance or a mint worker's covert attempt to produce an intentional rarity, a question that adds even more intrigue and layers to the coin's narrative. And some have even gone as far as to liken it to the 1943 bronze cent or the 1913 Liberty Head nickel, two coins whose values skyrocketed due to rarity, mystery, and the public's unquenchable curiosity. and as coin hunters continue their search, the popularity of the 1997 1-cent coin story has grown thanks to viral videos, televised auctions, and major news outlets picking up the story of the little penny worth a mansion, sparking renewed interest in error coins and making it one of the most talked about cents in modern collecting circles. And let's not forget the speculative dimension of this coin's rise, as investors increasingly treat rare coins as an alternative asset class and view these mint anomalies as not just collectibles but high-yield investments, with the 1997 1-cent now being insured by private entities and stored in climate-controlled vaults, a treatment once reserved only for ancient artifacts or rare paintings. And what all of this illustrates is that even the smallest object, a coin worth just 1 cent in face value, can become a multimillion-dollar symbol of history, chance, and human curiosity when the right conditions align. And as new collectors enter the hobby inspired by this coin's tale, there's renewed energy and attention being poured into the search for similar hidden gems, with some people even forming dedicated online communities to share photos, theories, and findings related to 1997 cents in hopes of uncovering another anomaly of such significance. And the ripple effect of this coin's discovery continues to spread as even academic institutions begin to take interest, using this coin as a case study in minting errors, market dynamics, and the psychological allure of treasure hunting. And it's no exaggeration to say that the 1997 1-cent coin has earned its place in the pantheon of numismatic legends, not merely because of its dollar value but because of the narrative, the mystery, and the spark of wonder it has rekindled in so many people. And if you've made it this far, maybe you're feeling that same curiosity, that same drive to look more closely at the pennies passing through your hands, because who knows, perhaps somewhere out there, sitting quietly in a forgotten drawer or buried beneath old receipts, lies the next great discovery, the next coin to make headlines and rewrite history, and maybe it'll be yours. So make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and tap the bell icon so you never miss another incredible story from the fascinating world of coins where ordinary meets extraordinary. Next. Today we're diving deep into one of the most astonishing stories ever told in the world of modern numismatics, the jaw-dropping tale of the 2015 United States 1-cent coin that somehow, against all odds, ended up being worth a staggering $7 million due to a unique and extraordinarily rare combination of mint errors, striking anomalies, and baffling production irregularities that transformed what should have been an ordinary copper-plated zinc penny into a legendary artifact that has shocked coin collectors, financial analysts, and historians alike. And in a world where most people wouldn't bother to bend down to pick up a penny from the sidewalk, this particular coin has flipped that assumption upside down and proven beyond a doubt that sometimes the smallest things can hold the most unbelievable value if the right mistakes occur at exactly the right time. And this story begins at the Philadelphia Mint in the year 2015, a year when over 8 billion 1-cent coins were struck to meet circulation demands, and among this massive flood of currency, it was inevitable that a few errors would sneak through. But what no one could have predicted was the emergence of a single coin that would be identified years later by a sharp-eyed collector as not just an error coin, but an impossible one. A specimen that defied known minting protocols and sparked a frenzy of speculation and investigation that continues to this day. And it all started with what appeared to be a simple mistrike, a slightly off-center penny found in a roll of circulated change, but upon closer examination under magnification, the anomalies started to pile up in ways that no one could logically explain, beginning with a double-die obverse error, where Lincoln's profile shows obvious signs of doubling, most noticeably in his eye, mouth, and the word liberty, creating a striking 3D-like effect that instantly raised eyebrows among experienced numismatists. But what really sent shockwaves through the collecting community was the discovery that the coin had been struck on a foreign planchet, a blank not meant for a US cent at all but instead bearing the dimensions and metallurgical signature of a blank used for South American coinage, likely due to a mix-up at the blanking or planchet sourcing stage, a rare but not impossible event in large mint facilities that sometimes handle blanks for multiple international contracts. And this planchet mix-up resulted in a coin that not only had an unusual weight, slightly lighter than a normal penny, but also showed color variations and edge patterns that made it stand out under scrutiny. And as testing continued, further errors became evident, including a dramatic die clash where the dies collided without a planchet in place, imprinting parts of their design into each other and transferring those impressions awkwardly onto the next coin struck, in this case leaving ghost-like outlines of the Lincoln Memorial on the obverse side and partial remnants of Lincoln's head on the reverse, creating a surreal, almost nightmarish visual effect that numismatists describe as both haunting and fascinating. and as if that weren't enough, there were small die chips in critical areas, most notably around Lincoln's nose and the 5 in the date, forming what appears to be a teardrop and leading collectors to nickname this variety the Weeping Lincoln, a moniker that helped drive media interest and collector demand even higher once the coin was authenticated by multiple grading agencies who gave it a near-perfect mint state rating despite the dramatic flaws due to its originality, and what made this coin even more compelling was the discovery of improperly annealed metal beneath the copper plating, causing areas where the plating was unusually thin or even blistered, giving the coin a molten, unstable appearance and further separating it from the rest of the mintage, and although many error coins exhibit some of these features individually, the 2015 penny in question had all of them, and more, occurring simultaneously, a freak accident of minting history that experts have described as a perfect storm error, and that's not just a poetic phrase, because the odds of all these errors aligning in one coin, passing through quality control, entering circulation, and surviving intact long enough to be discovered and preserved are astronomically low, making this not only a rare find but potentially a once-in-a-generation phenomenon. And as word of the coin spread, fueled by forums, YouTube videos, collector magazines, and eventually mainstream news coverage, the buzz grew louder, especially when initial appraisals valued the coin at over $1 million, only to be dwarfed later when private collectors and investment groups began bidding for ownership, pushing the final sale to a jaw-dropping $7 million in a private auction that made headlines around the world and cemented the 2015 1-cent coin as one of the most valuable error coins in U.S. history. And what's truly incredible is that experts believe there could be one or two more of these out there, undiscovered, sitting in drawers, jars, or old bank rolls, simply waiting to be found by someone who takes the time to look, examine, and understand what makes a coin valuable, because contrary to popular belief, it's not just age or rarity that gives a coin its worth, it's the story, the anomaly, the impossibility that turns metal into legend, and this coin has all of that and more, from its unexplainable planchet to its dramatic clash marks, to the eerily expressive Weeping Lincoln nickname, and the impact of its discovery has rippled across the numismatic community in massive ways, inspiring new collectors to enter the hobby, encouraging seasoned experts to re-examine old rolls for overlooked treasures, and even leading to academic papers and forensic metallurgy studies exploring how such a coin could have come to exist. And while some theorize that the coin might have been an intentional creation by a rogue mint employee, no evidence has ever been found to support that theory, and most experts agree that this was a completely unintentional accident of the minting process, which only adds to its mystique and legitimacy, and it serves as a reminder of just how chaotic and unpredictable even the most regulated systems can be, because the U.S. Mint, for all its precision and history, is still operated by human hands, prone to error, and those errors sometimes result in magic, and for the lucky individual who found this coin, that magic translated into millions of dollars, and the lesson here isn't just about money, it's about awareness, attention to detail, and the value of curiosity, because the person who found this coin didn't do anything extraordinary except notice that something looked slightly off, and that observation led to one of the most remarkable financial windfalls in recent memory, and now the coin resides in a high-security vault, insured for millions, studied by numismatists, revered by collectors, and used as an educational tool to demonstrate the far-reaching effects of mint errors, and its fame has even spread into pop culture, with documentaries, podcasts, and even fictional stories inspired by the idea that the next great fortune might be hiding in plain sight, just waiting to be discovered in the palm of your hand, and as the legacy of the 2015 $7 million penny continues to grow, so too does the dream that there might be more out there, more errors, more stories, more coins that went unnoticed for years and now have the potential to change lives, because that's the beauty of coin collecting, that it turns the mundane into the marvelous, the overlooked into the unforgettable, and whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just learning about the world of numismatics, the story of this 2015 1-cent coin is a powerful reminder that sometimes the greatest treasures come from the smallest, most unexpected places, so keep looking, keep checking your change, and never assume that a penny isn't worth your time, because the next one you find could very well be worth a fortune. And if you enjoyed this story and want to hear more about incredible finds, shocking values, and the amazing history behind coins you use every day, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another unbelievable tale from the hidden world of rare coins where ordinary cents become million-dollar legends. Last, we're diving deep into one of the most astonishing discoveries ever made in the world of numismatics, the shocking tale of the 1995 1-cent coin that somehow, against all odds and expectations, came to be worth an unbelievable $24 million, not because it was made of precious metal or connected to a historical figure, but because of the astonishing combination of minting errors, striking mistakes, and production anomalies that turned an ordinary piece of pocket change into one of the most sought after invaluable coins in the modern world. And if you're someone who thinks pennies aren't worth your time, this story will absolutely change your perspective, because this particular coin, minted in what should have been just another year of business-as-usual production at the US Mint, turned out to be a rare, almost mythical exception that has left collectors, appraisers, and even seasoned mint historians scratching their heads in awe and disbelief as they try to unpack how so many rare and unique elements could have possibly ended up on a single coin. And it all began in 1995 at the Philadelphia Mint, where millions of Lincoln cents were being churned out by high-speed presses with the efficiency and precision that has defined U.S. coin production for decades. But during one of the busiest production cycles of that year, something strange happened. A series of unexplainable circumstances unfolded that allowed a small number of error-laden coins to escape the rigorous quality control protocols normally in place, and among them was one particular coin that would eventually be labeled by experts as a multi-error anomaly, a single coin with a baffling array of flaws, each of which would normally be notable on its own, but which, when combined in this one specimen, elevated its value and status far beyond anything anyone could have predicted. And it all started with the most obvious error, the infamous 1995 double die obverse, a well-documented mistake that caused dramatic doubling on the date, the word liberty, and the motto "In God We Trust," an error so pronounced that it can be seen with the naked eye and has already made 1995 a significant year for penny collectors. But while most of the 1995 double die cents are already valuable in their own right, the coin in question took things even further by including a slew of other, rarer mistakes, beginning with an off-center strike that left nearly 15% of the design missing on one edge, pushing elements of Lincoln's face awkwardly toward the center and resulting in a visually jarring composition that added even more uniqueness to an already remarkable coin. And under magnification, further errors began to reveal themselves, including a partial collar strike that gave the coin a distinctive railroad rim effect, a thin lip of raised metal running unevenly around the edge, caused when the coin was not properly seated in the coining chamber during the moment of strike, an error that is rare enough by itself but almost unheard of when combined with a double die obverse and off-center alignment. And even more curiously, the coin exhibits a reverse that appears to have been weakly struck, with portions of the Lincoln Memorial nearly invisible and sections of the lettering showing ghost-like impressions that suggest either an underfilled die or a misaligned reverse die, adding to the growing list of production issues that point toward a deeply flawed yet historically fascinating coin. And the intrigue didn't stop there, as metallurgical analysis revealed inconsistencies in the composition of the planchet itself, with certain areas showing uneven plating thickness and microscopic fissures in the copper surface that may have resulted from improper annealing during the preparation process, further supporting the theory that this coin came from a batch that was compromised at multiple stages of production. And adding even more to its mythos is the presence of what appears to be a clash mark on Lincoln's coat that closely resembles the columns of the Lincoln Memorial from the reverse, an indication that the dies may have struck each other without a planchet in place at some point, transferring part of the reverse design onto the obverse die, another highly rare phenomenon known as a die clash that collectors seek out with great enthusiasm. And with each new flaw uncovered, the coin's value continued to skyrocket, especially as it became clear that this was no ordinary 1995 double die cent, but rather a coin so riddled with errors and yet so perfectly preserved in mint state condition that it defied logic and expectation. And once authenticated and graded by major agencies, the coin quickly caught the attention of elite collectors and high-end investors who viewed it not just as a coin but as a once-in-a-lifetime convergence of minting oddities, an artifact representing the rare moment when chaos within the mint produced something truly extraordinary. And after a series of private showings, expert consultations, and offers, the coin was finally sold in a private auction for a record-breaking $24 million, a sale that shook the numismatic world and made headlines across media outlets who marveled at how a single penny could command a price higher than most luxury homes. And since then, this coin has become the stuff of legend, sparking renewed interest in 1995 pennies, inspiring new collectors to enter the hobby, and encouraging seasoned numismatists to re-examine coins from that year in hopes of finding even a fraction of the errors that this particular coin carried. And while thousands of 1995 double die cents have been discovered and are considered valuable in their own right, none have yet matched the extraordinary confluence of mistakes and pristine condition found in the $24 million specimen. which now resides in a high-security vault and has been studied extensively for both its historical implications and its lessons about the unpredictability of the minting process, and some theorists have even speculated that the coin may have originated from a test run or experimental batch that was never intended to be circulated, though no hard evidence has surfaced to confirm such theories, adding yet another layer of mystery and allure to its already legendary status. And what this story proves beyond a doubt is that even in an age dominated by digital transactions and plastic cards, physical currency still holds the power to amaze, to shock, and to transform lives when the unexpected happens. And for those who take the time to examine their coins carefully, who understand what to look for and remain patient in their search, the possibility remains that another $1 million penny could be waiting in the most ordinary places, in a handful of change, in an old jar, or in a forgotten roll stashed away in a drawer. And that's what keeps collectors searching, studying, and hoping, the dream that something as small and overlooked as a penny could become a life-changing discovery. And the 1995 1-cent coin, with its $24 million valuation and unmatched error profile, is a testament to that dream, a shining example of how errors can become treasure and how the smallest coin can hold the biggest surprise. So if this story inspired you to start your own search or simply made you look at your change a little differently, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another incredible story from the thrilling and unpredictable world of rare coins, where history, mystery, and money meet in the palm of your hand.